Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Coach Les, and I'm here with Mr. Yarwood from Yarwood Martial Arts, and we are live with Matt Chat for July 25th, 2024. And do we have a special program for you today? Welcome, Mr. Yarwood.
Hey, Coach Les, how's it going?
Absolutely phenomenal. Just get a little closer in on the camera view right now. And, we're going to be talking today about reasons that parents want their kids to join karate, taekwondo, a martial arts. And super excited to have this conversation because it's one that is near and dear to my heart. If I had anything to do with it, your curriculum would be in every school, at least in Minnesota to start, because I see the value and I've seen the results over the past 2 years. So I'm really excited for today's conversation.
Yes, sir. I think this is kind of the key to everything that starts us moving forward. If the parents bring their kids into us, the kids don't come in on their own. The parents have a reason why that they want their kid there, and they vary dramatically. We find a few that kind of stand out to us essentially, but they're not always the only reasons. Sometimes the parents think they want somebody or their kid in there for one reason, and then they find out that maybe it's not that reason, maybe it's something else. So we've kind of concocted a list of ideas and reasons that parents might want to have their kids in karate. Some that they probably already know, some maybe they hadn't even thought about before. So should be fun.
Yeah, I think it's for me it's even the surprising benefits that they don't know that they don't know.
Right.
That's the big key for me, and that's for me. That's the exciting part here. That I'm super excited to see is, basically all that there is for people to be able to, you've come up with 12 key points for us to talk about today. And I'm so excited about that because I feel like there's so many parents that just have as we all do in life. I'm not just pointing to the parents. We all have sometimes this tunnel vision that the media has created, life has created, our own pasts have created. And the opportunity for this is to really get into a space where, for me, Zig Ziglar quoted it really, really well. You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Yep. And for me, that's the expressiveness and why I'm here, why I'm doing this with you. And I really appreciate your time. So I'm going to hand it over to you. And when I can, I'll chime in and we'll go back and forth on this conversation. And for those of you that are joining us today, I see there's somebody from Yarwood's Martial Arts Facebook. Thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. And looking forward to getting connected to as many people as we can. We're currently on 1, 2, 3 Facebook sites, a YouTube site, and on Twitter. And we will also be pulling up the video once we're done today and putting it out to other social media as well. So stay tuned. Come and see us. If you can't see us live, come and listen to the replay. Over to you.
Yes, sir. So these are in no particular order. So I didn't rank them by what I hear the most. I just had a bunch that I want to kind of discuss and touch on. So first and foremost, I think the one thing people think about first is the physical part of it, actually doing the martial art itself and getting, whether it be fitness or getting back into shape or enhancing what they've already done. The physical health and fitness of what we do is obvious. I mean, we do, obviously our class is we do warm-ups, we do drills, we do all that stuff. So the physical aspect of it is an obvious thing to point out. I think some parents come in and that's one thing they think about right away, but then they start to see that there's other things that we use that physical for to teach them the other things that are kind of on this list. So it's, I mean, it's a it's a workout. You're gonna, hopefully, if you're working hard enough in class, you're gonna be sweating at the end. You're gonna feel a sense of accomplishment of that you did something physical, that you did some work. We do kicking, punching, blocking. We do warm up drills. We do kicking drills. We do form drills. We do sparring. We do board breaking. So all those things fall under the physical fitness aspect of what we do. And some kids, unfortunately, in schools now, they don't do much physical fitness anymore. So this may be the only opportunity for their kids to get some physical fitness in their routine. So it's a great way to gateway to get kids into being more active and get them off the couch and get them off of the cell phones and iPads that they carry around with them all the time. I know physically for you, Coach Les, it's been something that's really been helpful.
Yeah, I think, for me, to have, I have a gym in my basement. I have a boxing bag in my garage. Up until about a week ago, I had a Bowflex that all have dust on them. And I look at the benefit for me on a physical is not only regular practice, but that drive to get me to level up and keep pushing myself. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and the number one thing that happens to older people is they get stiff and they're no longer pushing their bodies. Well, I guess what? I just restarted 2 years ago, and my goal is to push and push and push, because I know what's possible. I mean, my grandfather lived to be 101 years old, and he walked 5 miles a day, even though he was legally blind by the time he was in his 70s. And, he became a widower at 91. And at 93, he got married again to this lady that went on walks with him every day for over 2 years. And they finally said, why don't we get married? And so here he is at 93 years old, and he walked 5 miles a day as a legally blind person with a cane. And I look at that and his commitment to two things. One, that physical exercise, and two, no worry. Like when I asked him what's the number one thing, if he could fractionalize it into a short sentence, it was no worries. Like, don't worry. And then he said, make sure you're doing physical exercise every single day.
Yep. And then Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, when you're born, you're tender and supple and have movement. And when you die, you become stiff and rigor. So essentially it says, if you don't stay supple and move around, you're going to end up dying. Think about like a tree, right? When it's first growing, it blows in the wind and it gives. But when it dies, it turns into sticks and you can break them super easy. So physical fitness is a huge component to a healthy lifestyle and longevity. So the next one I want to talk about, we kind of touched on it in one episode before, discipline and focus. Parents bring their kids in because maybe they're having some issues with the kids, not paying attention to them, not listening to them, not doing the things they're supposed to do. So we create a program that gives them some tools to be able to use not only at our dojo, but when they go home, to be able to keep the kids focused and keep them disciplined and hopefully on the right track for doing what they're supposed to do. So we use discipline in multiple different ways, one of which is, obviously our class is structured in such a way that the kids are supposed to be standing on their dots, listening, paying attention. When they're told to do something, they do it immediately. There's no back talk. There's no questioning it. You just do it. It teaches them to have that response when mom and dad tell them to go do something. They just say, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, and go do it. So they have the discipline to follow instructions and stay focused. They also learn self-control through discipline. We call it self-discipline. And they know to do things they're supposed to do without having to be told. So that's like the next step in discipline. We start with the imposed discipline. They learn what they're supposed to do. And then they figure out that they can do it without having to be told to do it. And then ultimately that helps them out when they get out in the real world. They're taking action and doing things they're supposed to do without waiting for somebody to tell them to get something done.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. So for me, I'm not going to say much more so we can move on, because my favorite one, just to let everybody know, is going to be number 8, and we'll get to that. Discipline and focus. To me, I think this is with everything. This is, to me, epitomizes what integrity is all about. With integrity, creating that discipline, creating that focus, creating what I call workability, not good or bad, right or wrong, shoulda, coulda, woulda, any of that poop. Looking at it from this aspect of, does this work? And is it creating workability in my life? Boom. Back over to you.
All right. I'm going to move on to number 4. Number 3 is self-defense skills. Obviously, the stuff that we teach, it's designed to help them with their self-defense. That kind of covers with the physical as well. But the next one is confidence and self-esteem. I think this is probably one of the biggest ones that parents talk to us about, is the confidence in their child. A lot of kids that come to see us have been or are currently being bullied. A lot of that stems from the way they feel about themselves. They make themselves easy targets because they don't have confidence in who they are. They don't have the self-esteem to feel good about themselves. And when that happens, bullies hone in on that. And typically a bully is the same way. They don't feel good about themselves either, but they want to make somebody else who doesn't feel good feel worse than they do so that they can feel better. So we are big into teaching kids confidence. We use the training to teach them that they can do whatever it is they decide they want to do. They have the belief that, hey, I put my mind to something, I practice it, I do it, and I get better at it, and then I feel good about myself. And we talk to them about how they can build that confidence, not only with the training, but how they talk about themselves, not only to themselves, but to others as well. So that way that they're starting to understand who they are and the value that they have and what they have to offer to their friends, to their families, to all the relationships that they have, versus feeling like they're left out or that they're not worthy or any of that kind of stuff. So we see a huge spike in confidence within the first couple of weeks of kids coming to our classes. All of our instructors are trained in uplifting and positive reinforcement, and showing kids that they can do whatever it is they decide they want to do, as long as they have the effort and the confidence to be able to step up and do it.
And for me, this goes to one of my favorite stories with one of your students, who I think she was around 12, 13 years old, couldn't ride a pedal bike. And I know you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
And am I about right on the age?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. And after her first week, 1 week of doing classes, she went home, grabbed her pedal bike, got on it, never having ridden it and gotten it, always wiping out, not being able to get balance, because you can't teach somebody balance. It's an acquired skill. And she got on the bike and rode her bike, like bang. Her parents were shocked. And it's why their commitment has been so powerfully engaged in her participating in martial arts.
Yep. Yeah, and she's already a good student, but I think she struggled with some social awkwardness and whatnot. She's made a lot more friends. She's become a leader amongst her friends and a leader in her school, which is super cool to see.
Yeah. Confidence and self-esteem. There you go.
Yep. Next up, respect and courtesy. Respect is a huge part of what we do. We have some traditions that we do in our school. We bow to each other. We shake hands. We call each other sir and ma'am. That's part of our culture, but it's all based in respect and the respect that we have for each other. I don't require our students to call me sir and me not call them sir. That's not how it works. It's not an authority thing. It's a respect thing. So I call everybody sir and ma'am, whether they're an adult, whether they're a teenager, whether they're a 4-year-old little dragon, they're all sir or ma'am to me, and vice versa. It teaches kids to understand that we have respect for each other. And if you're not having respect for each other, nobody's going to respect you either. And you're going to struggle with a lot of things. People are going to treat you differently, because the biggest, most important part of respect is your self-respect, how you treat yourself, how you present yourself to others. And it goes a long way to helping you in your regular life and outside what you're doing out in school, at home. If people are if you're respecting everybody, even if they don't respect you, we teach that too. If you have somebody who doesn't like you, treat you like garbage, whatever, you don't have to like them, but if you show them respect, and don't fall into their trap of calling them names back, it goes a long way, because it says to everybody else around who sees them treating you that way, how you're responding and the type of person that you are. So we use respect as a huge tool to be able to help work with that confidence we just talked about. And it goes a long way to getting things that you might want in life. If you're treating your stuff with respect, you're treating others with respect, a lot of stuff's going to come back to you.
Well, every time I hear the word respect, all I can think of is R-E-S-P-C-T, R-E-S-P-C-T. And I look at that and I think about that song, right? And I look there, where in school, i.e. elementary or high school, do they teach respect? They don't. In fact, the students are allowed to do whatever they want, and they can get away with whatever they want because the teachers can't do anything.
Yep.
And it's become commonplace now. Kids can go up and hit a teacher, and that's okay. It's like, oh, well, that my child is dealing with outbursts. I'm so sorry. It's like, what do you? I mean, I know I come from a different generation. I get it. I come from a different generation. I just know, first of all, I would never do that. The respect I have for a teacher is like the respect I had for my mom and dad.
Yep.
And it came with a certain element of fear. Fear
Yep.
of punishment.
Yep.
Right? I didn't want to lose my life's privileges that I had. I didn't want to lose my bike. Dr. Laura Schlesinger, she's one of these advocates that says, hey, your kid slams their door in their bedroom to get you out of their face. You have my permission to go and remove the door, remove the hinges. If they try to do something else, take away. And you can take away and take away. All you have to do is make sure they have a bed and warmth in that bed to sleep, and a pair of clean clothes. So I know parents that have taken the bed frames away. They've taken their entire closet away. They've taken the door to the closet and the door to the bedroom away. And they come when the kid is finally asleep, they come and there's a chair in there and they set the next day's outfit on the chair. And until their child learns respect and courtesy, right? We live in this society. I mean, I've been on mission trips, John, and you know this story, and the kids are so respectful, and they are so connected to their spirituality. And I look at the whole process being you can't parents don't spend enough time instilling rules, decorum, respect, and courtesy for another human being.
Yeah, I think part of that has to deal with it's too easy to just hand your kid something to take their time, right? It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to be the person that, even though it's inconvenient for you, you still got to do it, right? You may be sacrificing, but you're sacrificing for your child, and you're not going to win every battle, but you got to keep going. You got to, if once you give in, you lost and you got to start over. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
You only have to lose once, and we go back to the beginning,
And
right?
and I
Kids
hate
are going to push and push and push and push and push and push and push, and that's just how it is. So as a parent, I mean, I'm a parent myself. You can't give up, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what you have to sacrifice. You cannot give up because you will lose quick.
And I
once
think
you lose, it's hard to get it back.
What's his name? I'm trying to think of Ivan Pavlov.
Oh.
And he does it with classical. He was a huge he was a Russian and Soviet experimental neurologist and physiologist known for his discovery of classical conditioning through his experiments with dogs.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to. I'm going to put myself into the same bracket. So if somebody hears this and goes, "You're calling my kids dogs," well, I'm going to call myself as a human being a dog. Why? Because of the habitual things that we do. We get, in theory, we get up in the morning, we brush our teeth. That's a habit.
Yep.
For some of us, we get up in the morning, we pee first, then brush our teeth, right? I mean, just life. And we have created this, as the English call it, namby-pamby world for children. We have to protect them. Oh, we don't want them to be hurt. We don't want them to be mentally unadjusted. Well, hello. If any of you, and I don't care what biblical, what religious, what spiritual scripture you read, you will see in these scriptures, Bible, Quran, Torah, all of them, there is this thing called discipline.
Yep.
Right? And it's there for this respect and courtesy. It's there not because, you're not human or your parents are somehow better than you. It's not about better or worse. It's about workability. And everybody takes it to an emotional thing. Oh, they're horrible. They're bad. They're wrong. They're good. They're, whatever. It's not about any of that. It's about what works in a functional society to make things work equitably.
Yep.
Children think money grows on a tree in the backyard, I think. I mean, seriously, look at
you don't have a money tree?
I actually have two of them. I have two of them. They're plants. They're called the money tree, the little, those little ones that you buy.
Yeah.
Mine have very few leaves left on them at the moment.
mine died. They went stiff. So okay, respect is huge. The next thing we talk about, and this is a huge part of everything that we do from day one. They walk in the door, we give them a goal, right? When they walk in the door, their goal, I don't know anybody whose goal would be different than this walking into my studio. Their goal is to become a black belt. Right? So
yes, sir.
We give them the goal to become a black belt. Well, what does it take to earn that black belt, to wear that black belt around your waist, right? It takes dedication. It takes, work ethic. It takes all these things. So what we do is we break down what it takes to be a black belt into color belts, right? So they have 9 different color belts that they have to earn. And then each one of those belts that they have to earn gets broken down into 2 parts. So then they have to earn the half step. And then each one of those belts that they have to earn there is breaking down into stripes. So each week they have to earn a stripe on their belt. So they have a goal every single week to earn a stripe towards that black belt. So we break it down. It's a 4-year process that we can break down literally into weeks, even days. And we show them what it takes. We give them a map. We can even give them the date if they want. What it teaches them is that how you get places, how you do things is by setting goals and reaching those goals and having steps along the way that get you to where you want to go. So they can use goals setting in school for, taking a math test or taking a course, for what they want to do in life. If they want to become a firefighter or whatever it is, you break it down into little accomplishments along the way, little milestones that you reach getting to that ultimate goal. And then we also teach them, once you get that goal, set another one. Don't stop. It's not the end. It's just the journey to get there, to put you onto the path to the next thing. So we teach it in every single class, goal setting, how to use goals in life. And it's a huge component of what we do, because obviously that's how you get your black belt.
As far as goal setting and achievement, for me, it's paramount. If you don't have goals, you don't have something to strive for, you're going to go the opposite way. You are either expanding or contracting. There is the law of entropy. You are one or the other. There's no sitting still. So many people say, well, I'm just going to take a break. Well, I've said that, by the way, many times. And when I take a break, my waist gets bigger. That's what taking a break is. And some people go, well, Les, you need that mental break. No, it has nothing to do with mental break. That physical piece, that physical goal setting, that physical achievement, it's all part of every single day. Do something. You can shift it around. You could do martial arts Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and on Tuesday and Thursday, go walking. You could walk every day and do martial arts. So I think there's setting these goals, and goals are, by the way, the next generation of a dream. You have a dream. It gets then talked about, looked at, put into existence, and it becomes a goal. And then that goal then gets put into your life step by step by step by step, just as you were talking about the stripes and going through everything to the black belt. And then you achieve. And so many people, by the way, and I want to bring this up because you've said it so many times to me, and I've heard it before. When you get your black belt, it's the beginning. Not the end. It is the okay, now you know the basic skills sufficiently competently well enough to now master and develop mastery, which then is the step into second degree, third degree, fourth degree, fifth degree, sixth degree. And as you go into these different degrees, there are things that you become accountable for, responsible for, i.e. goal setting along the way, because you're either expanding or contracting. All right.
All right, let's jump to number 8, since that's your favorite. I'll let you start then, since that's the one you want.
So for me, so many times, and I'm going to just read what we've got written here and then expand on a little. Physical activities such as Taekwondo, in our experience, karate of many other forms, helps children and young adults manage stress and release pent-up energy. It also teaches techniques for emotional regulation, helping kids and young adults stay calm and focused. There's nowhere that's taught that. I mean, we stick these video games in front of kids. Here's the babysitter, and they hand their $1,000 cell phone to their little kid, and the little kid turns on something and goes, "Ugh." And how I know it's not doing anything is I'll watch a kid that when you see the kid playing and smiling and laughing, they have great control over their mouth. This is just one thing I want you parents to look at. You stick the phone in front of them and get it, and they get like their mind into that. This is what happens. And that's it. And you can see it. I mean, the body, 85 to 95% of communication is nonverbal. You see that kind of communication, and then you go, "Hey, Susie, hey, John," and you have to go, "Hey, wake up," and they're like, "Huh? Yeah." It's like You're telling me that there isn't anything that is decreasing workability in their life, in their brain?
Yep.
I mean, I watch movies, and I'll be transparent here. I watch movies to allow my brain to go vegetative to some degree. And my wife would laugh because she'll say, yep, and he's asleep sometimes 30 seconds into the movie. Which it's like, okay. People go, Les, how many times have you seen that movie? I don't know, probably 6. Why? Because many times I fall asleep during part of it, so I miss parts.
Yep.
Right? So for me, this stress relief and emotional regulation, when you become a martial arts student, there are things that you have to learn to do. You have to learn to control this physique.
Yep.
People go, well, I can't control that. You can learn.
Yep. It's built right into how we teach, right? I don't teach my students to fight. That is the furthest thing from what I want them to do. I want them to control themselves. Self-control is a huge thing. And if you can control your emotions and you can control your stress levels, you're winning. Because if you get confronted by somebody in the real world and your adrenaline's going to, right, all these things are going to happen, but you understand that what you've learned is to be able to control those things, you're going to be way better off. You're not going to go off the handle. You're not going to find yourself in trouble. You're not going to put yourself in situations that are negative for you. You're typically going to, the odds of things happening like that go way down because you can control how you handle the situation. If you let your emotions dictate how you respond to things, you're going to find yourself in a lot more trouble than you would if you can just all right, I feel it, I can sense it, now I want to control it, right? We can't stop the emotions, but we can figure out how to utilize those emotions to our advantage. And that's where teaching kids that when we're sparring, how to control their kicks, how to pull their kicks, how to use full speed, but also not take somebody's head off. We when they get frustrated, when they're trying to learn a new move, and we teach them about, okay, we're going to break this down and figure out what it is we're struggling with. How can we deal with it versus just get mad about it and throw a fit and walk off the mats and I don't want to come here anymore. That's all emotional stuff. And we teach them how to handle those emotions and deal with them in a positive way and take those emotions and use them to their advantage.
And when I think about it, if you ask most people, emotions to them are real, like a thing. Like if I were to take a knife and cut myself, right? That's a real thing. Yep. And there's a cut and it bleeds, etc. Emotions, if I cut you open, like if I actually look inside, there is no such thing. There isn't a thing. There isn't a button. There's maybe an electrical impulse that someone would say, well, that's an emotion. That's the result of an emotion.
Yep.
Oh, and who has control over that impulse? Most people would say, well, I don't. No, that's absurd.
Yep.
You may not have been trained how to have control over it. That's what's missing because parents allow their kids to tend to, I've got to just let them be. I have to let them get it out of their system. Are you kidding me? Kids don't know self-control.
Nope.
They don't even know. They're looking to find the barriers. They're going to hit the wall. Why? Because the wall's there.
Yep.
And until they hit it and realize, ouch, maybe I shouldn't run into the wall.
Yeah, they know how far they can go.
Exactly. And you think, and people go, well, I don't agree with you, Coach Les. I don't agree with you. Really? Let's take it to an infant. How many times does an infant get up, fall down, get up, fall down until they learn to walk? If we treated infants like we treat young adults, teenagers, and kids, where they're speaking and talking, if we treated infants learning to walk like we treated them, they would never learn to walk.
Yep.
Thank God, or whatever your belief is, thank that belief that they learn that stuff because it's innate in their learning. And they watch us walking around. So they want to learn how to do it. And they just do it. Luckily, we don't interfere too much. We praise them. I mean, it's you know, and yet we don't do it anywhere else in their life. Oh, okay. Over to you, sir. Do you want to continue, or shall we come back and do part?
Yeah,
two?
I think we can turn this into a part 2. We can do the rest of it next week.
Awesome, and we can come back and start off with social skills and friendships. That'd be a perfect one.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Mr. Yarwood. Really do appreciate the insights to this. And as you can see, today was one of those that I got a little animated. I have something in my lap so that I don't get too animated.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing. I mean, that's why I'm saying these parents, they don't know how much that their child is going to learn when they walk through those doors. They're thinking activity. I'm going to have my kid do karate. Yeah, that's fine, but that's what brought you in here, but that's not what's going to keep you here. What keeps you here is this list of things that your child is going to learn that they're going to be able to use for the rest of their lives, whether they stay training in karate or not. If they leave with those skills, then I've done my job, and I'm happy.
It's awesome, and I'm gonna throw a little curveball in here, and I'm gonna ask you, because I know that this is something you did in high school. Why is it they teach, or they will occasionally send even NFL players and college football, American football players, to get trained by a ballet coach? Like what are they doing there, Mr. Yarwood? Why would you do that?
I think of that when I think of that, I think of Lynn Swan. He's the most famous one. He actually almost became a professional ballet. But I think there's a lot of it's calming. It teaches them control of their body, control of their emotions, control of everything, right? Because an NFL football player, that's a very physical game. And if they get emotions built into it, and when they can go and do ballet, it calms the nerves. It teaches them to focus. It teaches all those things. It's not a fast sport. It's a nice, slow, steady thing, right? So it's focus and learning. So yeah, it's a huge thing.
And not only that, right? Because some people would say, well, you could do yoga and meditation. Yeah, maybe. What happens in ballet, though, is that the tone, and I'm picking ballet because it's something to me very much like martial arts, right? Mm-hmm. When I stand and I do a side kick and I hold my leg out there, and the idea is for me to turn, to get to the level of skill where I can actually turn and have my legs still be up in the air. That body control, that core strength. Imagine if every single NFL player had that ability, that speed, that reflex, that all of that. That's what I see happening to our kids, young adults, through participating.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yarwood. And with that, everybody, I am going to do a little bit of closure here.